Hi, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa. Today, we're gonna taco about a casserole. It's Lunch with Lisa. Alright, today we're making spaghetti squash taco casserole. And I am going to share with you stuff that I've learned since the first time I made something with spaghetti squash for this channel. I still was cutting my spaghetti squash lengthwise, and since then I've learned two tricks that you could do to cut this open. One is you can pound like something like a nail or whatever, or the knife, pound it directly into the spaghetti squash and work your way around by poking little holes all the way around and putting this in the microwave for a little bit just to soften the skin. Or you can cut it widthwise instead of lengthwise. So I'm gonna try that today and see how it goes. And we'll just roll with the punches, right? Oh. Oh, that was so easy. How cool. Okay, so I'm gonna scoop the seeds out and then I'm going to put this in the oven for 35 to 45 minutes just to get it nice and soft so we can scoop out all those delicious strands of spaghetti squash. That was so easy. Oh my God. And you can roast the seeds and eat them, or I don't know. Does anyone eat spaghetti squash seeds? Let me know in the comments. I know I have eaten pumpkin seeds. They look similar. I bet they taste the same. It's a little bit harder to scoop out the seeds this way, but it's still doing the job. All right, there's one. Can't believe how easy that was. Fall is the time to stick your hands into wet, squishy things. Oh yeah. What other wet, squishy things do we stick our hands into in the fall? Pumpkins, spaghetti squash. I bet you guys can name a few. So I have some extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna lube these babies up. Oh yeah. Cover all the surface. Get right down in there. All right, that makes a nice little cavernous hole we can sprinkle our salt and pepper into. Let's have some cracked pepper here. Oh man, cutting it in half like that removes, like I don't have to cut the stem off, I don't have to do anything. Holy shnikes. Sprinkle in some salts. And I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm just gonna slip them right in. So while those are getting all nice and cooked, we are going to make our taco seasoning. Since this is a taco casserole, you can buy pre-made taco seasoning and just use this, or you can make your own. I prefer to make my own. I control the quality of ingredients that go in it, and I control how much. So I have this recipe here that I found online from the Pioneer Woman. It has directions on how to make just a little bit and how to make a lot. So we could make the equivalent of 6 packets with the a lot, or I guess the equivalent of just 1 packet. I have an old empty spice bottle that I just put another label right on top and labeled it taco seasoning, and that's where I put my taco seasoning in. So I'm gonna use 2 teaspoons chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons ground cumin. I love that smoky flavor, it's so good. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. I have smoked paprika here, so good. 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I bought a new black pepper. And I'm just going to put the lid on and shake her up. I'm combining it with what was in there before. And let's see, I don't even remember what recipe I had in there before, but now it's all combined and it smells divine. So now that we have our taco seasoning made, we're gonna go ahead and cook the ground turkey. So I'm gonna use 1 pound of lean ground turkey, and it's super lean, so I need to add a little bit of fat to the pan so it doesn't just stick. But I have this nifty spray bottle. You can find that in the link below to my Amazon store. now that the turkey meat is all browned up, drain off any liquids if you have any. I don't have any because I use such a lean ground turkey. And then we're gonna add 3 teaspoons of our taco seasoning. And what is 3 teaspoons? Why, yes, Lisa, it's a tablespoon. So I have a tablespoon here. Just gonna dump that in and mix it all around. I've turned off the heat, so it's not cooking anymore. Oh, that smells so good already. Okay, we're just gonna set this aside until we're ready to mix it in. All right, the spaghetti squash is all done. I just need to let it cool a little bit and then scrape it out. If you want to, you could make the spaghetti squash a day ahead of time and just scrape it all out into a container and put it in the fridge just to pull it out to use the next day. Might make things a little bit easier for you. It won't take as long. Make it really quick and easy. So I get to pull out my death machine again. This thing, the mandolin slicer, is my foe, but I am going to master it now because I bought this with a little container on the back. You can find this in the links below. This thing is awesome. It comes with a guard so you don't cut yourself. And I love how it captures everything in a container so it's not just all over my countertops. So this calls for cheese. So instead of a death slicer, I have the grater attachment on here. It's got many attachments. It's awesome multi-tool. Gotta love those multi-tools. I have 8 ounces of cheese here. This recipe only calls for 5 ounces of cheddar and 4 ounces of Monterey Jack cheese. So I am going to know that it's a little bit more than half of this bar and just half of this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and open those up. Throw this away and don't put it in the plastic bag you use to store the cheese, because this is covered with all sorts of bacteria and stuff from the grocery store, and who knows who's touched it. And every time I put a plastic wrap inside the plastic bag with the cheese that I store, it gets moldy like super fast. But if I throw this away and just store the cheese without this, my cheese lasts forever. Okay, so I'm gonna make kind of a mark like halfway through my cheese so I know when to stop when I'm grating this. That way I have cheese left over to hang on to as I'm grating this. And of course, make sure your hands are clean so you're not putting mold and yeast or whatever, viruses, bacteria, onto your cheese. So that's another cool trick, is always clean your hands when you're cooking. Not a trick, it's just common sense. All right, I've reached the line. I know that that's done. And then I'm going to kind of guesstimate half of this bar and then an ounce up. So I know when I reach this line, I am done. Good thing about being the chef is you get to taste the product and eat the extras. Or if you're trying to lose weight, don't do that. Don't be tempted. Now you can buy your cheese pre-shredded. That'll save you some time, but I will tell you that this burns calories, and you're not buying cheese that's coated with all sorts of stuff like potato starch. So I like to shred my own cheese for the most part, or I check the bags. If it's got a lot of powder in it, nope. All right, so we got this awesome cheese. I have here a half a cup of Greek yogurt, non-fat plain. I have half a cup of plain tomato sauce. I have 1 egg that's beat, slightly beat. Slightly, it's been, oh, it's so tired, it's beat. And then I have my spaghetti squash. And I'm gonna need a big bowl. So I have here a big, nice big bowl. Woo! So I have here a nice big dented bowl that I just dropped on the floor. So I'm going to scrape all the spaghetti squash into the bowl, and then I'm going to add the ingredients and mix it all together. I'm going to add my half a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, my half a cup of plain tomato sauce, my beaten egg, and then half of each of the cheeses. So I'm just going to mix that up real quick and just throw half of it in there. So mix it all together. And then we're going to throw in the meat. Just toss that all together. And then in the same casserole dish we use to cook the spaghetti squash, we're going to toss this all in here. Then go ahead and smush it all flat. And we're gonna slice up some tomatoes and top it. So it says 1 large tomato, and so I have 2 Roma tomatoes. Slice them crosswise to make them look all nice and pretty. We're just gonna stick these in here. Then we're gonna sprinkle the top with the remaining cheese. We're gonna pop it in a 375-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Just gonna crack some pepper right on top and a little bit of salt. In the oven it goes, and I'll see you in just a moment. So the casserole is almost finished. I have it in the oven. I put the broiler on, and I'm gonna broil it for just about 3 minutes or so, just so the top gets all nice and brown and crispy. And while that's broiling, I'm gonna cut up some lime because, yeah, that's real good to squeeze on top. And I have some cilantro here and an avocado. It's gonna be the garnish. Okay, so this casserole serves 8. Yes, it's gonna be delicious. I'm just gonna cut up this avocado, super easy. And then we're gonna chop up some of this cilantro. Oh, it smells so good, all that cheese getting all nice and brown. Okay, just 1 more minute because I want it to be super nice and crispy. So I just pulled it out. I'm gonna let it cool for 5 to 10 minutes so that I can plate this baby up. So a nice trick when you're thinking about your food and putting it on a plate, the best thing to do is to have like white plates so that it contrasts against your food. I have these colorful plates too to add some more contrast. And when I'm thinking of what color my food is, I'm thinking about a contrasting color that my plate can be so that I want to eat the food. If it blends in with your plate, it's not gonna look as appetizing. You wanna feast with your eyeballs. It really does send a message to your brain. And these plates are nice and blue, which is the opposite of orange. So this is kind of an orangey reddish dish, and these blue plates will contrast and make this color pop, and that will make the food even more tantalizing to your eyeballs. All right, we're ready to serve this thing. I'm gonna portion it out into 8 portions. All right, so I got this on the plate. I'm gonna sprinkle on some cilantro. I'm gonna put a piece of lime right next to it if I'm serving it, but I'm just gonna squirt it right on top. And then I'm going to put 1/4 of an avocado down or so. My child said that the restaurant should take tips from me. Yummy, you guys. This looks so good and it smells delicious. Oh, that lime. You guys, squirt lime on things. Tastes so good. Worth the wait. It wasn't even that long of a wait. This is good. It's good for you. Oh, this is gonna make you feel good. When you eat good food, it makes you feel good. Those bits of cilantro, don't leave them out unless you hate cilantro, which I'm sorry if you do, because I understand. All right, you guys, make this. Taco about it in the comments, please. It's so good. And you won't miss the taco shell, I promise. It's all here. The flavors are on point. You could probably sprinkle some salsa on here too. Oh, salsa! I have some salsa. Yes. I went and bought some salsa just for this freaking video. Yummy! Oh my god, I just made it 1,000,000 times better. You could add jalapenos to this if you like jalapenos. Okay, let's try it with the salsa. Yum. I mean, you could add a little dollop of fat-free sour cream or low-fat sour cream if you wanted. Yum. This stuff is good. I'm gonna finish this off. You guys need to go make this. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side. It's lunch with Lisa. Can't believe I forgot the salsa. Come on. This is so good. Hey, remember the time when I dropped that bowl? Like, how dumb was that? I'm gonna taco about how I'm shoving this in my mouth because it's so good. And it's not even time for me to eat right now. Oh well. I went on a really long hike this morning and I earned this baby. So good. And my oven. I have smoked my potato squash. We're gonna sprinkle, shit, forgot to keep that on bake. And while that's broiling, I have cut up a few limes, you can put some salsa on it. Well, no shit, Sherlock.